Hello and welcome. My name is Rham. Welcome to this YouTube channel and welcome to this special class that's devoted to the first trimester of pregnancy. It's deeply restorative. All of the poses are going to help you to relax, to soften, which is really important in the first 3 months, which can be tricky. We can feel nausea and extreme tiredness. So coming back to this practice a few times a week is going to help eliminate that tiredness, is going to help honor what's happening, that big creative force in the body, and is going to make you feel fantastic. So we're going to need some equipment. 2 bolsters. If you don't have 2 bolsters, you can take blankets and roll them up to make a bolster, so that's fine. We need some blankets, blocks, and a strap. And we're going to start in Savasana, but Savasana supported with a bolster underneath the length of the spine and a blanket for the neck and the head. So gathering all of your yoga equipment and let's come and meet on the mat for this beautiful practice. Ready to start? So we've got the bolster, we've got the blanket for the neck and head, and we're going to lie down on it. The important thing, first of all, heels in line with the corners of the mat for some width, bringing broadness. We're encouraging the broadness that's required for our shapes and our hips and our abdomen to expand for our baby. Secondly, very important, when you lie down, you want to make sure that there's a gap of about a fist between your lower back and the bolster, so that when you lie down, the bolster isn't jamming into the lower back and creating more of a lumbar arch, which could bring sensitivity. So as we lie down, we come down first to the elbows, and then we manually, with our fingers, move our hips, buttocks towards the heels, so that when we lie down completely, the lumbar is as straight as possible within the shape that we're in. And then we reach back for the blanket, making sure that it's supporting our neck and of course our head, but not our shoulders. So getting in right into the juncture of the neck, but not the shoulders. Arms extended diagonally away. And then let's roll each shoulder back by lifting it up, rolling the front shoulder back, and then pushing the shoulder blade up. And you'll feel the arm begins to naturally spiral open because we've adjusted it from the root of the arm. So doing the same with the left arm. Checking that we feel nice and even, nice and comfortable. And when we're ready, gently closing the eyes and entering Savasana. With each exhale, relaxing the body more and more, so that there's a feeling of meltingness onto the bolster, the body melting around the shape of the bolster gently supporting the spine upwards, but everything melting down towards the ground around it. And then gently moving through the body, with each exhale, relaxing any tensions that you encounter. So starting with the forehead and dividing the forehead into 2, so that the right forehead can flow to the right and the left forehead can flow to the left. Relaxing all the little muscles around the eyes and feeling the temples also flow to their respective sides, the right temple flowing into the right hairline, the left temple flowing into the left hairline. Observing the softness that's trickling through the cheeks now, through the ears, coming into the jaw, and letting the lower jaw gently hang from the top jaw. Feeling the tongue soften, traveling to the root of the tongue, helping it to be completely passive, the glottis passive, and traveling down the neck and throat, letting that warm trickle of softness flow through these areas until we reach the shoulders. Knowing that the shoulders are an area where we hold a lot of unconscious tension, using a stream of exhalations to gently encourage the shoulders to relax and rest more and more. And like a river of softness, this passiveness comes down the arms, through the elbows, into the forearms and the wrists, pooling in the hands, the fingers, the skin of the palm of the hands becoming porous. And then traveling deeper inside the body to the ribs that grip and hold the lungs. And visualizing those ribs releasing their grip on the lungs. The intercostal muscles yielding. Feeling the gentle new spaciousness that comes to both of the lungs, the right and the left. Observing the breath in that new space. The spine resting completely on the bolster. The hips and buttocks heavy on the ground. Completely inert. Letting go everywhere, letting go of everything. Journeying now into the abdominal cavity. Releasing one by one all of the organs that come to mind. The organs becoming spongy and soft. Melting towards the lower back. The entire front body receding backwards over and over again. And with an exhale now, completely relax all of the organs of reproduction, all of the organs of excretion. And feel that softness trickling through the hips into the legs. Visualizing the front thighs, relaxing so much that they no longer hold the thigh bones. And traveling inside the bones of the thighs, relaxing even the marrow of the bones. Soft surrender trickling down into the knees, the inner knees, the outer knees, the front knees, the back knees. And continuing this journey of passiveness into the shins, into the calves, into the ankles, the inner ankles, the outer ankles, the front ankles, the back ankles. No more holding on, letting go of everything. The heels passive. The feet gently liquefying. The toes. And the skin on the soles of the feet. Porous. No longer tight. Releasing. Resting in this deeper and deeper softness with each breath cycle. And then lightly wiggling the fingers, until we can lift the hands and press the palms together in front of the chest, in front of the sternum plate, and opening our practice here together with one Om. Inhale. And then exhale, releasing the hands, allowing the eyelids to gently open. And then rolling over to the right hand side and using our hands to push ourselves up, so staying in softness and emerging. Okay, our next asana is cross bolsters. So we need 2 bolsters or 1 bolster and 3 blankets rolled up to make a bolster shape. And this is what it's going to look like. So the bottom bolster underneath like this, the top bolster on top like this. Keep a blanket handy because dependent on your neck and shoulders, you might want to have some support there. And then, because we're pregnant and we really want to release this area and not have any strain, we're also going to have blocks for our feet so that our feet are slightly lifted, reducing the tension of an overarch, but still in that wonderful experience of cross bolster, which you're about to really feel. Here we go. And then a strap so that we don't have to think about keeping the legs parallel, which in turn helps our lower back have integrity. So putting the strap around our thighs is going to help keep that in place. So we sit on the bolster and make a loop in our strap, putting the feet in. And then, see, they're not jammed completely tight because we want our feet spread, our legs a little bit apart, bringing broadness and space to the entire pelvic area. So widening up a little bit if you went too tight. And now we just want to test our distances out first. So thinking that your heels are going to be lying back and see, so my shoulders haven't come to the floor yet, so I know I need to move backwards. But if I move too far backwards like this, I'm going to miss the blocks. So coming back up, adjusting what needs to be adjusted. For me, it's bringing the blocks a little bit closer. And let's enter cross bolster with those alignments in place. So kind of sliding back down. If you're feeling any discomfort in your neck, you could take the extra blanket you had and just pop it under the neck and head there. Even rolling up a little bit if you really need to support the cervical spine, but not underneath the shoulders, because we really want to encourage those front shoulders to roll back, just like in our Savasana. So I'm going to move the blanket because I'm better without it. And now the arms. They can be extended diagonally to the side, or they can come to this position where the elbows and the shoulders are in line and the forearm is perpendicular to this line. I like this. I just get a better opening here, but everything is dependent on the vehicle that you're currently inhabiting and also dependent on day to day. So 2 options to choose from. Pick the one that's most comfortable and it's going to allow you to really release and relax into the pose. Now check in with your heels and roll the thighs in so that the heels are on the bricks and the toes are facing the sky, and then move the heels a little bit further away so you're not shortening the backs of the heels. So even though we're relaxing, there is some directionalization to the pose. Keep in contact with that So that in the process of relaxation, we're also extending our awareness. We're moving to that open, focused state of beingness as opposed to tight focus, which is what we tend to function with during the day. And finding now Ujjayi 1 breath. So in the first few cycles of Ujjayi 1 breath, no matter how many years you've been doing it for, it's really good to take the time to count the length of the inhale and to count the length of the exhale until, over the course of a few cycles, you really establish evenness between both parts of the breath. And it takes a few cycles to know what our count is today. The breath changes day to day depending on many different variables. And so don't assume that the count you had yesterday is the count that you have today. So finding that count, long, soft, smooth inhalations, long, soft, smooth exhalations. Keep all of the facial features soft, the skin on the face soft. Draw all of the senses that are located in the facial area inwards. So the eyes gently receding backwards to the back of the skull. And the outer ears being drawn in towards each other, towards the inner ears. And the inner ears being drawn in towards each other, gently meeting behind the jaw. Soft, smooth inhalations and soft, pacifying exhalations. The front throat soft. And the juncture where the shoulders and the neck meet, that meeting point that's often tight with congestion, emotions, worries, complexity. With each exhale, releasing that area more and more to the ground. Cellular surrender. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, pacifying exhalation. Feel the heels again, making sure that you're keeping some density, some presence in both heels, pressing on the block. And then travel from each heel up the backs of each of your legs until you reach the buttocks. And see if you can feel the connection from the right buttock to the right heel, from the left buttock to the left heel. And gently pressing the heels down a little bit more firmly now, pull each buttock to its respective heel. A gentle movement, but enough that you feel if there was any arch in the lumbar area, it's now flattening to the bolster. And as the lumbar flattens towards the bolster and the sacrum moves towards the heels, we'll feel new space coming to the abdominal cavity. You may feel a light tearing sensation in the skin cells there. Go into that, seeing how with the breath, how with the action of the heels pulling the buttocks down, and with the action of the front ribs lifting up and broadening, we can increase that beautiful opening of the skin cells. That's what that tearing sensation is, the opening of the skin cells. And beneath that will be the opening of the fascia, and beneath that will be this whole new spaciousness in the muscles, and the abdominal cavity itself, and in the organs. So starting from the outer body and moving in
soft, smooth inhalations, and soft, pacifying exhalations. Observing all of this, moving away from the thinkingness that can plague us into sensation. Pure sensation, free of judgment, free of thought. Just a multitudinous expanding web of sensation. Soft, smooth inhalations and soft, pacifying exhalations. And as much as we're directionalizing and observing, we're also receiving the pose. Allowing ourselves to fully receive the pose with each breath. A deeper presence, a deeper connection. And now gently we're going to lift the feet up, bending the knees, bringing the feet to the floor. And from here we're going to roll over to the right, nice and gently, using the hand, the left hand, to hold us, to support us, so nothing brusque coming off that bottom bolster. Taking a little minute here. And then using the hands again to push ourselves back up. Okay, taking the strap off. And we're now coming to Supta Virasana. So one bolster, one blanket, and you might need 2 bolsters depending on the tension or not in your front thighs. So you can always have that extra height if needed. So let's prepare. Bottom bolster and blanket for the neck and head. If you were taking 2 bolsters, little note here, you would want to make sure that your second bolster or blankets were a little bit pushed back from the edge of this one. So little increments. Nicer shape for the body to recline on. And we need a strap for our thighs. So we're going to put the strap over our head. Oops, strap twist. There we go. Put our arms through. Bringing the back of the strap to the back of the knees and really squidgeting it in there. And keeping the buckle in the middle between the knees so that it's not pressing anywhere or hurtful in any way. So with our fingertips pulling the calves back and out. And then coming to sit onto the floor or onto, if you have 2 bolsters, you could sit on the bottom bolster. And then taking a moment to really make sure our feet are pulled into the outer hips and we press the outer skirting of the feet down, directionalizing the feet. And now coming to lie down. So same rules here of not wanting to jam the lumbar with the bottom bolster. A fist with the hand and just checking that there's that space, which is going to be healthy for our lumbars, especially in pregnancy. The body biologically becomes soft to accommodate what's happening. And so in that softness, if your tendency is to overarch your lower back, then you can be sure that that's going to be increased. So you want to really watch this area because the lower back links directly to the womb and the organs of reproduction. Okay, we're lying down, coming halfway so that we can again lift our hips and with our fingertips move them manually towards the knees. And then we can lie down, adjust the blanket, everything that we need, and coming back with our hands to our hips, moving again the buttocks towards the front knees. This is tilting the pelvis this way, rather than letting it go this way, where the buttocks come up to the bolster, and then the organs kind of drop, and the anal mouth drops also and turns towards the ground. When we move the buttocks towards the knees, which is what we're trying to do, then the anal mouth faces forward, and the organs can gently lift, no tension in the lifting, just a natural lifting from the pelvic tilt. And then the entire abdominal area can both recede and spread from the left side to the right side. Okay, then bringing the arms up, holding onto the elbows and bringing the arms over. And now we are in our Sutta Virasana. You can close the eyelids gently over the eyeballs and settle back into Ujjayi, one breath. Soft, smooth inhalations and soft, pacifying exhalations. Taking a few breath cycles to count the duration of each part of the breath to ensure that we're really in that evenness. And that evenness is bringing us into a parasympathetic state of being, a very calming state, a state that moves away from fear, from anxiety, that reduces adrenaline, cortisol, soft, smooth inhalations, and soft, pacifying exhalations. Check that the senses of perception located in the face area are still receiving, starting with the eyeballs. Explore what it feels like to really let the eyeballs melt backwards towards the back of the skull. And often we'll find that one eyeball recedes backwards and one sort of wants to stay frontal. So examining both of them, trying to get them to both recede evenly and smoothly and continually towards the back of the skull. And notice the difference that this brings to the brain state. Soft, smooth inhalations and soft, smooth exhalations. And then sensing the ears and gently drawing them inwards. The right ear to the left ear to the right. Finding the inner ears and drawing the inner ears also inwards towards each other until they meet and settle in a new softness. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, pacifying exhalation. And we're going to prepare to change the cross of the arms. So undoing ourselves, stretching the arms straight behind us, the palms facing each other, the arms parallel. Really stretch the arms, stretch the fingertips. See how that brings more length to the trunk, more freedom. And now change the cross of the arms, holding onto the elbows again, and settle back into the second side of our Sutta Virasana. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. Now feeling the fingertips on the elbows and using the fingertips to pull the elbows backwards towards the wall behind. And as we pull the elbow tips back, We feel the tricep lengthening, and we feel the armpit lengthening. Keep going with this lengthening of the armpit, opening of the armpit chest. Soft, smooth inhalations, soft, pacifying exhalations. Feeling both armpits come alive, and feeling how the armpits link to the armpit chest, which is the area, the ribs, the skin, right underneath the armpits that's normally covered by the inner arm. Observing the sensation of the exposure there. Breathing into those areas, into the gills, the pranayamic gills. And the more we can pull the elbow tips back, the more sensation, the more openness, the more availability we have in that secret area, the armpit chest. Soft, smooth inhalations, soft, pacifying exhalations. The front thigh is still ironing down to the thigh bone. Soft, smooth inhalations, soft, smooth exhalations. Feeling our existence everywhere through the breath. And now releasing our elbows, bringing the hands back to the side of the body, gently opening the eyelids. And we're going to come out of Supta Vidasa. So coming up first onto the elbows, and then using the hands to push ourselves up. And right about here, just lifting the buttocks, freeing them, moving them back a little bit so that when we sit, we're right on the bottom buttock again. And we're going to widen our knees apart. So we have to let the strap go a little bit, widen the knees. And then we're reaching around and taking our bolster, placing it here, and coming forward to Yoga Mudras. The blanket is going to be for our forehead so that when we come forward, our nose isn't feeling squished on the bolster. All right, here we go. Coming in gently. The bolster giving support to the abdomen, which in turn is giving support to the lower back. Moving the blanket so it's right underneath the forehead. Making sure that it's far enough away that you can really lengthen the cervical spine, but not too far away that you feel that you're having to move the forehead up and curve the cervical spine. Both sides of the neck even. The skin of the forehead moving down towards the nose. And then bringing the arms in front and holding onto our elbows again. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. Ujjayi, one breath. And here in this pose, we can really feel the back body when we breathe. So finding the ribs of the back body right around the shoulder blade area and underneath the shoulder blade area, on the right side and the left side. And with each inhale, broadening that space, broadening the ribs apart, bringing more broadness to the back. And when we exhale, keeping that broadness. Not allowing the body to become tight and close in on itself on each exhale. So the inhale feeds the broadness, the exhale sustains it there, the next inhale creates more broadness, the exhale integrates it there, the following inhale even more broadness,
And going with this visualization with each breath cycle. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. And we're going to change the cross of our elbows. So stretching the arms out in front and changing the cross, holding back onto the elbows again. And now with your fingertips, lift the right elbow up and move the elbow a little bit forward on the blanket and settle it back down. And now move the left elbow up and move the inner elbow forward on the blanket and settle it back down. And observe what this slight adjustment has brought, what freedom it's brought, what sensations it's brought. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. Check that the skin of the forehead is still being directionalized towards the nose. Check that the sides of the neck are still feeling even, that the cervical spine is still feeling long. And now find the trapezius muscles. And with the next exhale, gently move the trapezius muscles down the back towards the buttocks, but keep the inner elbows moving forward. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation, moving the trapezius muscles down the back. And then releasing the elbows and slowly coming out. And we're going to take the strap off and do a very light Uttanasana with our feet spread and our knees straight. So integrating those openings that we brought to the joints of the knees back into straightness. If it's too hard to reach the floor, you can have your bolster, fingertips on the bolster. Make sure that the feet are parallel, that the toes are spread, that your connection to earth is long and broad. And then looking at the knees, maybe even touching them to encourage their action. Squeeze the inner knee to the outer knee to the inner knee, the front knee to the back knee to the front knee, and then suck with the quadricep muscle upwards so that the kneecaps are lifting. Just breathing, being here. And then bending the knees and coming back up. Okay, it's now time for some forward bends. So we're going to need a blanket to sit on. And this blanket is not just for comfort, it's actually more to give a little lift to the hips so that the buttocks are flying back, giving ease to the coming forward action. And we want to move the blanket to the left side of the mat because we're coming to Janu Sirsasana first with our right knee bent, so the right knee will be on this side. So we'll be sitting on this corner. And then the other equipment we need is a bolster. So let's first of all take our Janu Sirsasana seat. Left leg straight, right knee bent, coming right onto the corner of the bolster, and then with our hands, widening the sit bones apart. And the blanket is going to help hold the sit bones open in that way. So we're sitting on the inner edge of the sit bones. This heel is close to the groin, and this leg is lined up with the left hip. Often people accommodate the pose by doing this. So make sure that the leg is really coming straight out. So we start Janu Sirsasana, we're actually facing diagonally forward.
so that when we come into Janus Sirsasana, there is a twisting action. Okay, time for the bolster. Here, this is going to help to keep our arms lifted, which in turn is bringing space here and space to the abdominal cavity. So we're not going to curl down and try to get the forehead towards the shin, which closes this whole area up. We want to bring length and new awareness of spaciousness in this whole front body. So we're turning to the left first, and then we're exhaling forward, and you may need to adjust the bolster a little bit for you. And if you can't reach the foot, you can of course take a strap. Keep rolling that right bent leg backwards. It's going to try to lift up to help you to come forward more. So you need to go to it and roll the thigh back. That's it. And press the right sit bone down so it's not lifting up. And now you'll feel a beautiful opening come to the back right hip. And think of this leg as the anchoring leg. From that presence of really connected groundingness, we now gently, very gently with the exhale, move the right abdomen to the left, as if we were trying to lay the right abdomen on the left thigh. And the exhale is really helpful to get this gentle movement. So if when we next exhale, be right in the right side of your abdomen, and as the exhale streams through, gently swoop the right abdomen to the left, and coming down, forehead on the bolster, Janus Sirsasana. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. The skin of the forehead moving towards the nose. The left heel firm. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. Making sure that the abdomen is staying soft. The abdomen, much like the shoulders, is an area where we can unconsciously hold an enormous amount of tension, of worry. So the art of relaxing the abdomen is not as simple as just, oh, my abdomen's relaxed. Really spending thought time connecting with each organ, inviting each and every organ that we can think of to relax, to soften, to be malleable, so there's no hardness in the cells of the organs themselves. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. And then coming back up. And we're going to change sides. So forward bends are very supportive of inward states, of turning inwards, meditative states. You can probably feel that. Let's make the experience on the other side. Right leg straight, left knee bent, heel close to the groin, and using the corner of the blanket to widen the sit bones apart so you're really sitting on the inner edge of the sit bones. Checking that this foot has stayed in line with the hip, that it hasn't snuck over to the left. And then taking the bolster, placing it in position. So we start off facing diagonally forward, and now we turn to the right, so the mild twisting has begun. And we exhale forward nice and gently. Each side can be very different. Moving slowly, feeling. We want to get sensitive here and increase our sensitivity. Taking hold of the foot
And now connecting with that bent leg, the left leg. And with the exhale, rolling it back. And rolling the left outer hip back. Anchoring the pose through that back left leg, that back hip. And from that, begin to gently pay more attention to the twisting action. The left abdomen gently rolling to the right, as if we wanted to lay the left abdomen onto that right thigh. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalations. And now let's travel and be in the left side of our abdomens. And at the start of the next exhale, with the exhale, moving the left abdomen to the right. Making sure that we haven't hardened the abdominal area and the organs within. So visualizing your organs, being in dialogue with your organs, and inviting each and every one of them to be soft in their natural state. Soft, smooth inhalations, soft, pacifying exhalations. Traveling deep within. A journey of softness, but the right leg still firm, the right heel still firm. The brain becoming cool and quiet with each breath cycle. And then gently releasing and coming out. And we're now coming to Paschimottanasana. So the blanket is going to come in so that both sit bones can be on it. The feet will be spread. Again, the idea that when the feet are spread and it travels up the legs, there's more spaciousness in the groin and the organs and the pelvic area. If we tighten the feet together, we're immediately tightening that space, and we're going for proactive broadness here. So widening the feet apart, hip distance. Then with our hands, reaching and pulling the sit bones back and out to the side. And if you're not used to doing this action, do it several times, because of course on the third time of doing it, you get to a new place. So feel how the blanket is helping to pull the sit bones back and out. Bolster in preparation, straps if it's hard to reach the feet. Inhale. And exhale, coming forward, and adjust the bolster so that it's supporting the forehead, but it's not shortening you. So finding the right distance for you. And then arms onto the bolster, lifting the arms up, and we can hold onto the feet. Finding Ujjayi, one breath. Keep the sit bones wide and sharp. So the sit bones, we want to imagine them not rounded, but actually sharp. The fronts of our thighs, the roots of the thighs, right here. The right thigh is rolling in. And similarly, the left thigh is rolling in. And this is helping the sit bones to widen. Feeling that. Soft, smooth inhale. Soft, smooth exhale. And the quadricep muscles are still ironing down to the bone as the thighs roll in, as the sit bones widen. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. The heels firm, pressing down. And check in with the juncture of the shoulders and the neck. Now that area that often gets a traffic jam. So using the exhale to help remove any build-up there. With each exhale, encourage the trapezius muscles to move downwards. Ujjayi 1 breath cycles, smooth and even. The jaw relaxed. The skin of the forehead moving towards the nose. And then coming back up, observing how with each forward bend, that inwardness, that turning inward, has more and more presence. And now we're coming to Upavishta Konasana. So, little blanket. I'm turning this way so that you can see me. Widening our legs apart. And widening our sit bones apart several times. And then the bolster. So we're going first to a gentle Parivrita Upavishta Konasana. So we're going to put the bolster on the right leg. I'm doing the mirror image of you. As we're turning and twisting, keep in contact with that left heel and with the left buttock, that it doesn't lift up to accommodate what it thinks we want to do. And when we're ready, exhaling, coming forward. Forehead to the bolster. Adjusting as needed, so that there's length and support, no strain. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. Keep both heels firm. Both front thighs ironing downwards towards the thigh bones. Both sit bones connecting with equal density to the earth. And now let's travel into the abdominal area, checking the softness of that area. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a long, deep exhalation and not inhale. And right between the space of the exhale and what will be the next inhale, consciously re-relax all of the organs and roll the left abdomen to the right and then inhale again. So having that little gap between the exhale and the inhale to explore, to re-soften, to twist before inhaling again. Trying that out a few times, seeing what it brings. And then coming back out. And we're going to go to the left-hand side. So moving our bolsters, checking that the foundations of our pose are still intact. Turning to the left. And gently exhaling forward. As we come forward, the right buttock bone loves to lift up. So press it gently down, grounding the pose, adjusting the bolster, and forehead down. Soft, smooth inhalations, soft, smooth exhalations. Connecting with both of the heels, ironing the front thighs down to the thigh bones. Feeling both of our buttock bones and trying to have even density so that one is not lighter than the other. Soft, smooth inhalations.
Soft, smooth exhalations. And now traveling down to the abdominal area.
I'm working with
The end of the exhale, the gap between the end of the exhale and the inhale, to purposefully re-soften, to roll gently the abdomen from the right to the left, and then to inhale again. Experimenting with that until we feel more and more at ease with that sensation and more clear about that movement.
And then coming back up. And again, one more time on each side. Moving the bolster to the right. Re-widening the sit bones apart. Ironing the front thighs down to the bone. And preparing to turn. Keeping connected as we come forward.
And exhaling the forehead down to the bolster. Ujjayi, one breath. Make sure the trapezius muscles aren't hunching up, that the cervical spine is long. Relax, which in turn is going to help the back of the brain to be smooth and soft. And then making that experiment with the breath between the exhale and the inhale, in that little gap, doing a deeper softening of the abdominal cavity of the reproductive organs, and gently rolling the left belly button to the right in that softness and no strain. Doing that a few times. The heels still firm. The toes still spread. And even in the state of passiveness, feeding the areas of the body that have vibrancy.
And then coming back up. And one last time to the left-hand side. Re-widening the buttocks, pressing the heels down and ironing the front thighs down towards the thigh bones. And now turning gently to the left and coming forward, step by step, stage by stage, no rushing, purposefully slowing down. And exhaling the forehead down. Soft, smooth inhalations and soft, pacifying exhalations. Check that the skin of the forehead is gently still being directionalized towards the nose. The moment the skin of the forehead starts moving upwards towards the scalp line, it will tense the back of the neck and the back of the brain. Both heels connected, both sit bones connected. And now gently playing with that little journey of softness between the end of the exhale and the next inhale. And in that little gap, relaxing more and more profoundly the abdominal cavity, the organs of reproduction, gently rolling them from the right to the left, and then inhaling again, observing the difference. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. And then coming back up. And it's now time for Yoga Mudrasana and Upavishta Konasana. So the bolster here, not jamming in. When we're not pregnant, it's nice to jam it in so that when we breathe, the organs are really getting a deep massage.
Here, it's just a gentle support. Everything gentle. And for some of us, it's easy to go gentle, and for some of us, it's hard to be gentle. So, working with more and more sensitivity so that the gentleness is a true gentleness, not a kind of just passive droppingness. Okay, widening the sit bones apart. Again, even though you thought they couldn't get much wider, press the heels down. And gently exhaling forward. We're going to bring our forearms in front here. And we're actually going to keep the eyes coming forward now, just the chin down. Spread the toes, push through the balls of the feet. And move the trapezius muscles down the back. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. And what's happening to the eyes? Are they still moving backwards towards the skull, or have they started to bulge forward again? Connecting with that receding quality in the eyes and the ears. And the inert passiveness of the root of the tongue. And now we're going to turn the head to the right and lay on the right ear as best as our neck will allow. The hands can come down and be on the floor by the sides of the bolster. Keep the legs firm, the heels pressing down. The curve of the quadricep being ironed down to the thigh bone. And the trapezius muscles moving down the back away from the ears. Keeping the neck and the sides of the neck long and clear. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. And now we're going to lift the head up and turn it to the left, resting on the outer ear. It could be that one side feels very different from the other. Just observing that, if it's the case, not judging it, and beginning to find our Ujjayi 1 breath cycles. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. Keep the toes spread, the heels firm, the legs firm. Both sit bones pressing down evenly. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. And then bringing the head back to the center and using the hands to gently walk back up. And it's now time for Baddha and Supta Baddha. So let's bend our knees, bring our feet in, and move the bolster in preparation right here. So it's going to support the spine. And taking the blanket for our neck and head. And taking the straps. So there's several ways to use the strap. We're going to stick with the classical way today. So we want to start off sitting on the bolster and coming to Baddha. Bringing the heels in close. And then the strap. Bringing it over our head, our arms through, like our Virasana. Buckle at the front. And the most important part of this classical way of using the strap is that this back strap must stay low. As we tighten up and everything, the strap tends to ride up, so you have to keep pulling it down so that it can do its work, which is to traction the hips that we talked about in Supta Virasana.
Now, the other part of the strap comes over the feet, and you want to have the buckle so you can pull the strap in towards you to tighten it. So if it's going the other way, it's a struggle and it creates a strain. All right, so keep tightening up until you can go no more, checking that the back strap is nice and low on the back hips, it's on the middle buttock, and of course, taking blocks if needed to slide underneath the outer thighs. I should show, that would be nicer to show. So let's take them and put them here in preparation, right there. Now we're coming forward off our bolsters, and the moment we come forward, we have a little bit of give here in the strap to take a little bit more. And of course, if you're using blocks, they're going to come in too. So we're preparing to lie down. We need to have that space between the lower back and the bolster. A fist right here, using the hand behind the back to check that the back strap is really in place. And now we're coming down. Halfway point, we go with the action of the strap. We help it by lifting the hips up and moving the buttocks forward towards the heels. And then coming all the way down. You may feel that you can tighten your strap up a little bit. This blanket comes to the neck and head. We take the time to roll each of our shoulders back and to simultaneously tuck the shoulder blade up, so that the shoulder blade, as it moves up, it travels through the whole torso and helps the ribs right underneath the breasts, and then what we call in yoga the nipple ribs to flower up like an accordion that's opening. So doing that on the left hand side now. And when everything feels just right, bringing the arms up, bending the elbows, taking hold of our elbow tips, and bringing the arms back onto the blanket behind us. Closing the eyelids, which encourages and reminds the eyeballs to recede backwards to the back skull. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. The facial features completely quiet. The root of the tongue passive. Keep inviting the groins to relax more deeply. The buttocks to rest completely. And all of the abdominal cavity, both lengthening and broadening. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. Keep the fingertips on the elbows purposeful, and occasionally lift the forearms up slightly and see if you could pull the elbow tips back more to open the armpit and to bring life and space to the armpit chest, the pranayamic gills. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalations. That soothing energy and rhythm of evenness. Rippling through the womb, rippling through your baby. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. Allowing ourselves to fully receive the pose. Often in asana, we feel very much like the doer. I'm doing this pose, I'm trying harder. Here we really want to explore what it means to simultaneously be the receiver of the pose. Receiving this great gift.
being worthy enough to receive this gift. And in that subtle but really important psychological shift, in turn, we do receive much more from the pose. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. And we're now going to change the cross of the arms. So stretch the arms back, fingertips stretching, reaching for the wall behind you. Arms parallel. And now change the cross of the arms, taking hold of the elbows again, pulling them slightly back, and with an exhale, settling back into the second side of Supta Baddha Konasana. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. Encouraging this idea of melting over the supports. And observing that freedom that comes to the front body. On the left side, on the right side. The groins relaxing deeply. The legs relaxing. Everything letting go to better receive the pose. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. Softening the lips, softening the front throat, softening the jaw, and yet still keeping the fingertips active, giving direction to the elbows, which are the secret key to bringing more freedom and spaciousness to the armpits and the pranayamic gills. Each breath increasing our sensitivity. The mind following breath, the noticing following breath. Our attention expanding. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, pacifying exhalations. And then gently releasing the elbow tips, bringing the hands back to the side of the body. The eyelids opening. And gently making our way back up. And releasing our straps. And our legs as well. Now, by the way, about Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta Baddha Konasana can be done on its own any time. My teacher used to say that no tiredness can resist a Supta Baddha Konasana. So at any time, if you're feeling that deep first trimester exhaustion, feel free to come into a Supta Baddha Konasana just on its own. You don't need to warm up, you don't need to warm down. Just taking Supta Baddha Konasana 10, 15 minutes, as long as you want. And it's incredible how it really just does ease the tiredness out
and bring a very kind of calm vitality to the system. It's also very helpful for nausea, well it was for me. Okay, coming up now, our Savasana cycle, Savasana, Halasana, and we want to get 2 chairs. They don't have to be yoga chairs, but they do have to be the same chairs with a flat seat because our feet are going to go onto them in Halasana. So obviously you can't have one chair higher than the other. So let's go and get those. Then we also need 3 blankets, a strap, and we'll meet back on the mat. Here we are. I have 3 blankets, and I like to make a little diagonal edge with the clip of my blankets. I find it nicer for the cervical spine. And we have a strap. We want to be able to put our arms through the strap behind our back. So I use my inner shoulders to check that the loop is not too small or too wide. Or you could just put your arms through and check like that so that the loop is ready. And then we have our chairs so that when we roll over and when we come to Halasana, 1 foot can go on each chair, again with the idea of spreading the legs, bringing spaciousness to the groins, to the womb, to the whole abdominal cavity, and bringing lift to the legs so they're not coming to the floor and tightening and closing this area down. So when you have all of that ready, let's come into our Savasana. So making sure that the strap is on the side, easy to access once we're upside down. Coming to lie down on the blankets with our shoulders 3 fingers away from the edge of the blanket. By the way, if you know that it's hard for you to roll up, you could take a bolster and put the bolster right here horizontally so that it's lifting the hips and buttocks, which is greatly going to help you to bring the legs over. So taking the time to do that, if you think that might be an issue for you. And then having checked the shoulders from the edge of the blanket, having checked that our strap is handy, we are now going to roll up and put our feet on the chairs. Toes turned under. Roll the shoulders back, just acclimatize to that. And without turning to look at me, so you want to keep both sides of the neck even. So just listening, taking the strap, bringing the strap behind the back and putting the arms through the strap. So that the strap comes right above the elbows. And then interlocking the fingers and straightening the arms. We're keeping the fingers interlocked and the arms straight so that we can get our profound shoulder opening before we come up to Savasana. So rolling to each side in order to roll the shoulders back. So to move the weight, roll the shoulders back, the front shoulders back a few times and really stretch the arms back. Now when you feel you've reached the maximum opening for you, releasing the hands, and now putting the hands on the back. Bending the knees, heels towards the buttocks, and now keeping the knees bent, bring the kneecaps up towards the sky, and then straightening the legs, keeping the feet hip distance apart. Savasana. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. You'll have noticed by now that the breath changes in each pose. So whatever the changes, just keeping the cycles even in the inhale and the exhale. Spreading all 10 toes and pushing up through the balls of the feet. The soles of the feet vibrant, and the legs having the feeling that they're trying to lift up so that the feet can touch the sky. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations.
So the legs are vibrant. If the legs become passive and you let the thigh muscles drop down off the thigh bones, then we really start to feel a little claustrophobic in this pose. So really important and helpful to connect with both the gravitational force, which obviously we feel more easily, and the anti-gravitational lift that comes from the legs here lifting up. Now imagine that your heels were pressing on a wall, that they were against a wall, and the moment we press the heels on an imaginary wall, we can feel the backs of the legs become more active. We want this because we want to travel from the heels down the length of the backs of the legs to the buttocks, and each buttock wants to go towards each heel. So the right buttock going to the right heel, the left buttock going to the left heel, the sacrum moving towards the heels. Re-spread the toes, the legs will be burning now, it's an active pose. And now checking into the state of the senses on the face, so the eyeballs bulge forward. How can we keep the legs active but release the eyeballs to the back of the skull again? Is the jaw still soft? What about the front throat? If the front throat tightens in Sarvangasana, then generally it means we've moved into pressing to the back skull and hardening the pose. So keep softening the throat and letting the chin come towards the sternum plate. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. See if you can get your hands higher up your back, closer to the ground. And keep the hands alert, so their purpose is not to support you, but to remind the back body to press in and up, in and up, in and up. And now we're going to bring both legs down to the seat. Finding the seats with our feet and moving the feet backwards so that our hips are right above the arm-shoulder area. Roll the thighs in towards each other so you're spreading the sit bones apart. And even here in this upside down pose, iron the front thighs towards the thigh bones. And now stretch the arms straight behind, interlock the fingers, and re-roll each shoulder back. Press the arms down into the blankets. This is the gravitational, intentional force. And from this pressing downness, simultaneously press up. The front thighs up, and the back ribs pressing in and up. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. Make sure to keep the feet charged. If the feet become passive, again we get that feeling of sinking downwardness, slight claustrophobia maybe, discomfort. So keep pressing to the feet and pushing the front thighs up. And now let's change the interlock of the fingers behind the back and re-roll each shoulder back. Make sure the chin is coming towards the throat. The arms pressing down in order to better press the back ribs in and up.
The feet firmly pressing, bringing vibrancy to the legs and helping the front thigh muscles to push upwards, to iron to the bone, to not drop away from the femur bone. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. Keep the upper thighs slightly rolling in towards each other. So the sit bones are widening, the anal mouth is broad, and the abdomen is relaxed, no hardness there. And check the state of the face, the facial muscles, the senses of perception. Are the outer ears still coming in towards each other? Are the eyeballs still receding to the back skull? And now releasing the interlock of the fingers, placing the hands back on the back. We have one last variation. So we're bending the knees and then increasing the bend, bringing the heels to the buttocks, pushing into our hands to help lift so that the kneecaps are coming towards the sky, the toes pointing down, and re-straightening our legs. Salvangasana. The heels against that imaginary wall, the toes spread. Now we're coming to Ekapada Salvangasana. So bringing the feet together now, so that we have that center point. And we're lowering the right leg to the right chair, so it's slightly coming out to the side. It's like a gentle mix between Ekapada and Vajrayakapada. And once the foot reaches the chair, charge the foot, push the front thigh to the thigh, and re-stretch that left leg up. Don't let the left leg come forward. Keep that left heel pressing against the imaginary wall. Soft, smooth inhale. Soft, smooth exhale. Relaxing the lips, the tongue. Relaxing the effort. Bringing the leg back up, we're going to find first Salvangasana with the feet, the width of the hips, coming to the center point, and now slowly lowering the left leg down and slightly to the left, finding the chair for Ekapada Salvangasana on the left hand side. The moment the foot touches the chair, charge that left leg and move again the front thigh to the thigh bone. Keep the right leg reaching up to the sky and the right heel pressing against that imaginary wall. Relax again the lips, the corners of the lips, the cheeks. Relax the front throat and the root of the tongue. And now we're going to lift the left leg back up. Salvangasana. And now bending the knees so the heels are coming towards the buttocks, the toes pointing down. And now bringing the knees towards the face. Both feet onto the chair. Halasana. Taking the strap off the arms. Supporting the back hips as we bend the knees and slowly, with control, unrolling and moving ourselves backwards so that the upper back is on the floor, resting the inner knees against each other so that the abdomen and the lower back can relax. Just recovering here. And then rolling over onto the right hand side.
and pushing ourselves back out. Okay, now we have Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, Viparita Karani, and then Savasana. So we're going to be moving to the wall for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, and I'm just going to put the chairs away and meet you back here. Ready for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. So I've moved the mat out of the way. It's nice to be able to slide on the floor. If you have some kind of a floor that can't slide and you want to use the mat, then of course use the mat. But I have this wood, and so it's nice to be able to utilize that rather than to feel stuck. So we need 3 blocks. 2 blocks for the feet and 1 block to go underneath the tailbone. And it's nice to use softer blocks rather than really hard blocks when you're pregnant. You can always put a little foam padding on it and a mat that you've cut up. But eventually, since you are pregnant and you're going through 9 months of this, it might be nice to treat yourself to some soft blocks for this time frame. So 1 block for the tailbone and 2 blocks for the feet. Coming out, and a strap, of course. Here we go. So we're coming into the wall, 1 foot for each block and slightly spread apart. Again, the idea of continued spaciousness and broadness. Receiving and welcoming your baby. And then this 3rd block here on the side. Okay, before we lie down, we're going to put our legs through the strap. And you don't want to tighten it up all the way because we want our feet to be spread, so you have to give a little bit of give, and it's just going to help give direction to the legs that keeps the integrity of the lower back. So we're lying down. And we have our block. We have 2 heights to the block. This is the highest height that I'm going to take. But if it's too much for you, go down 1 and just make sure to replicate that in the blocks against the wall. So if you go down lower, you want to take the blocks down lower. You want the blocks to be even from underneath the tailbone to the wall. So lying down, pressing the hips up, lifting the heels up to get a little bit higher, and place the block right underneath the tailbone. That means that the block should not be higher than the waistband of the trousers here. If it's up here, it's going to hurt the lumbar. Take it down nice and low between the cracks of the buttocks. Roll the shoulders back. Now here's where another reason it's nice to slide. You find your feet on the blocks. If you're too far away, obviously you have to come in closer. But if you're a little bit too close like I am, you can see my knees are a little bent. I can now, from holding onto the block with my hands, just push myself back, pulling the block with me, so sliding into the exact right length away from the wall for me. Re-roll the shoulders back, making sure that everything feels even and comfortable. And then stretching the arms, interlock the fingers behind the block. 1 more time, roll each front shoulder back and penetrate with the shoulder blades and the ribs underneath the shoulder blades, up through the trunk, opening the ribs underneath the breasts, opening the nipple ribs, the chin coming towards the throat, so not resisting with the back of the skull. The feet pushing into the wall. The legs firm. Keep pressing the front thighs down towards the thigh bones. And then make sure that you're following the block under the tailbone, that you're helping it by pressing the tailbone upwards. So the front thighs down to the thigh bones and the tailbone up so that it's rubbing the back of the pubic bone. Not allowing ourselves to get passive in that area. It's easy to do because we feel, oh, well, the block's holding me.
But the block is not holding you, it's there to directionalize, to bring more sensitivity, to increase awareness there. So coming back to it over and over again, reminding ourselves to imbue that area with greater intelligence and purpose. With each inhale, feel, and you can actually see them as well, the front ribs, the ribs just above the top of the abdomen, on the right side and the left side. Feel them both lifting up and broadening. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. As the ribs begin to lift and broaden more and more, check that we're still bringing the chin towards the sternum plate, and simultaneously the sternum plate is moving towards the chin. And now changing the interlock of the fingers behind the block, re-rolling our shoulders back, reconnecting to the shoulder blade area and the back ribs, and pressing them upwards so that we're opening from the back body, the front body. A totally different opening than we just opened from the front. Feel the ribs underneath the breast broadening, the nipple ribs broadening. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalation. Keep pressing the front thighs down. Pressing the tailbone up, the middle buttocks up. Soft, smooth inhalation. Soft, smooth exhalations. Each inhale lifting those front ribs, both lifting and broadening, the sternum moving towards the chin and the chin moving towards the sternum. Checking that the face is still relaxed. The eyeballs are still receding. The root of the tongue is still inert and soft. And then gently bending the knees, bringing the feet to the floor. And to come out of the pose, we're first going to lift the hips up and down 3 times, and then on the 3rd time we'll move the block. So press into the feet to lift the hips and buttocks up once, come back down. Up twice, come back down. And on the 3rd time as we lift up, we move the block to the side. And when we come down, we make sure to come down 1 vertebrae at a time. Let the inner knees rest against each other. Extend the arms out to the side. Taking a breath. Allowing the entire spine to feel the support of the earth. Before rolling over to the right hand side and pushing ourselves back up. Taking the straps off our legs and just keeping them to the side as we're going to be using them. Okay, Viparita Karana. So there are 2 different ways to do this. I'm going to show you both ways. We'll need 1 block for one of the ways. No need for our yoga mat either. Bolster. So we bring the bolster to the wall and we take the block and we put it, sandwich it between the bolster and the wall, like that. And we may not actually even be on it, but the intelligence of the back body is going to feel it there instead of a gap.
And feeling it there is going to help it to relax, to recede with greater ease to the ground. The strap is going to be for our feet. So the second way, which I'll just show here without actually doing it, is for those of you who have a tendency to fragile lower backs, and you may find that going so high on a bolster increases that. So if that's you, let's just move this to the side. It's very simple. One blanket to the wall, and that's what's going to be underneath your hips. So you're going to choose and experiment and see which one is the best option for you. Bearing in mind that, again, as everything, it can change from day to day on the vehicle's needs. Coming in sideways, whether you're on a blanket or on a bolster, that's what's going to get you closer to the wall. And then lying down and lifting the legs up. And then doing what we can to get close to the wall. If your hamstrings are hurting you, don't go closer, move a little bit away. Because if the hamstrings are hurting you in this pose, you won't be able to really relax. And this pose is a restorative receding pose. So no final bursts of pain in the hamstring. Then the straps. Little loop in the strap. And that loop goes around the feet so that when the feet are up on the wall, a little bit of width so that we have groin spaciousness, but we don't have to make any effort to hold the feet up. And then the arms extended, two choices, either diagonally away, front shoulders rolling back, or in this position, which we've looked at before, front shoulders still rolling back. So picking the one that feels the most soothing for you. And then just checking that you're lying right in the middle of the back of the skull, the sides of the neck even. The skin of the forehead coming down towards the nose, which is going to help the front throat stay really soft and help the chin move towards the front throat. And when everything feels just right, closing the eyelids and entering Viparita Karani. Soft, smooth inhalations. Soft, smooth exhalations. Sending each exhalation breath to the abdominal area, to the womb, to the reproductive organs. Inviting them to soften more and more profoundly with each exhale, so that they're not protruding or holding on in any way. No hardness. That entire area is continually melting towards the lower back, which is melting on the bolster or the blanket towards the earth. A continual journey of letting go. Soft, smooth, gentle breath cycles.
just lightly wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. And then gently bending the knees so the feet can slide down the wall. And reaching with our hands for the strap, just tightening that strap up so that it's holding the feet together and coming to a last Baddha. Rolling the shoulders back. Ujjayi, one breath. And then bringing the knees in towards each other, taking the strap off, putting the soles of the feet against the wall, and we're now going to push into our feet to come off our blankets or off our bolsters. So you want to put your hands on your blanket or bolsters to keep them against the wall as you move back, right side, left side, right side, left side. And then pushing and sliding back all the way until just your heels are on the blanket or the bolster. Widening the feet apart and rolling each leg open. With the hands, move the hips, the buttocks towards the wall so that the anal mouth is facing towards the wall and so that there's that gentle pelvic tilt which allows the abdominal womb organic area to both recede and spread. We're going to be coming into Savasana with our heels slightly lifted to have greater softness in this front area. If you like to use a blanket, this is a good time to put it under the neck. Extending the arms diagonally away, never higher than the shoulders. It creates a hunchingness. So diagonally away is the best place. Because you don't want to be too close either, because this would stop the spreading of the body. So right here, roll each front shoulder back one last time and simultaneously push the shoulder blades upwards, opening this band of ribs located underneath the breasts and the nipples. And when everything feels just right, closing the eyelids. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One last conscious deep inhale. And on this third exhalation, just releasing completely into Savasana. No more effort now. No more effort with breath. No more effort with physicality. Just complete and absolute letting go-ness. The entire body, inner and outer, each cell in the body, melting and liquefying into the earth, over and over again. and then lightly wiggling the fingers until we feel able to lift the hands and rest them on the lower abdomen. Holding our baby in our hands and welcoming our baby. Letting it know that it's well received, that we're waiting with open heart, with joy, with presence. And then bringing the hands together in front of the sternum plate and ending with our loving kindness prayer. Loka samastaha sukhinho bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And when we feel ready, releasing the hands back down and rolling over onto the right hand side of the body. Taking the fetal position. And then finally using the hands to push ourselves back up. Re-emerging gently. And welcome back. Our practice is complete. So obviously when we're pregnant, we're not immobile, and there are many more poses and practices that we can do. But in the first trimester, this really is an excellent sequence that my teacher gave to me 17 years ago to practice regularly, a couple of times, if not more, a week, because it really does prepare the mind, body, heart for the birth, and it really does create a connection with that growing life inside us. And regardless of the practice, 3 times a day, morning, noon, night, regularly, wherever you are, take a few minutes to connect with your baby, to let it know that it's welcomed, that it will be beautifully received, and that your presence is there. Any questions? Please don't hesitate to write. Congratulations on this beautiful experience in your life, the beginning of wonderful change and deeper love. And namaste. Hope we practice again together soon.